Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. It's wonderful to see you. I'm very excited. I got a call about 3 weeks ago from my very good friend, Rabbi Sam Rotenberg. And he does this thing where he calls me. It drives me absolutely nuts because he's very organized and always over-prepared for the Jewish holidays. And I am a complete mess. And he calls me, this is like over 3 weeks ago. He calls me and says, Jonathan, I'm starting my Passover grocery shopping. This was a while back. And I told him, I said, can you please stop being so efficient? Because it's making the rest of us look really bad. Shopping for Passover 3 weeks ago. If you've done this, don't tell me about it. 3 weeks ago. This is not the way you do this. I'll tell you the way I do it. Which, by the way, is not a good way to do it. Do not do what I do. This is what my process. It starts the end of Pesach the year before. And what you do after the Pesach is almost over, you declare usually to your wife, or really anybody who's around, or anybody who will listen, poor them. You declare to the universe something like, next year is going to be different. We're going to clean, and we're going to prepare, and we're going to get ready for Pesach well ahead of time. We're not going to wait to buy groceries or kosher the house. We're really going to do Pesach next year. This is what you say, okay? That's step one in this patented, terrible process that I have invented that you should not follow. Step two, okay? This is pretty easy. You wait a whole year and do absolutely nothing. Step two. About 3 days before Passover, then you shift into what I call chaos and panic mode. And you go to the store, usually it's the Elan HEB, and you try not to wrestle an old Jewish lady for some macaroons or a box of matzah. And then you rush home and you clean your house while your kids are upset and your wife is yelling at you. You do this every year. This is the process. It's not the best that we have, but it's all that I have. Do not do this. While I lived in Vegas, there was 1 year I really pushed this to the limit, and I attempted to buy the last box of matzah at the store, literally hours before Pesach started. And I got into the store, and there was a sad little table in the middle with one box. And I went to pick it up, and I noticed that across the store, there was an older lady who was eyeballing it. And it soon became like a Mexican-style standoff. You could actually hear the theme from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly playing while we stared at each other. It was wah, 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 wah. And I was looking at this lady, and I was really like 3 times bigger than she was. I could have totally won in a fight. But she stared at me with such an intensity, I was afraid of her. I really was. So I just let her have it. I wasn't going to live my life fighting to the death for a box of Strites matzah. I don't need that. I don't know if you know this, but there are some people that actually like matzah. These people are not Jewish. I don't think they are. We used to have a nanny who was from Poland, and she brought over to our house for her lunch a box of matzah in like November. And I didn't know what was going on. I thought she was like confused or someone was playing a prank on us. It was a box of Mediterranean matzah. It wasn't kosher for Passover. I didn't even know they made this sinful atrocity, but they do. And she just voluntarily ate it. No one was making her. She just ate it in our house with some tuna fish in November. And I've got to say, I was like offended that this was happening in my home. Why would anybody do this to themselves? And I had a conversation with my wife afterwards. It's kind of serious. I said, I don't know if we can let her watch our kids anymore. If she's going to do this, she could be capable of so much more. I don't like matzah. My digestive system doesn't like matzah. It's true, sorry. But yet, we are commanded to eat it during Passover. We have to. People in other religions, as far as I'm aware, they don't have to eat anything this time of year. Do you know what Christians get to eat? They get to have a chocolate bunny the size of a football. That's right. My kids see this at the store. And I said, well, don't worry, kids. We have a shake bone. And we have salt water that represents our tears. That's what you want. That's what we get. Mazel tov to us. Think about this. We literally call matzah the bread of our affliction. Couldn't someone have thought of a better name for this? That doesn't particularly inspire me to want to eat it. I don't want affliction in my mouth. Now, friends, I don't think it's a good idea or a productive way to think about matzah like this. So I've been attempting to reframe it in my mind. And this week's Torah portion, Parshat Tsav, has inspired me to do just that. This Torah portion comes from the book of Leviticus, and if you've been paying attention even a little bit, you'll know that this book, Leviticus, Vayikra, contains a myriad of laws and ideas about the ancient sacrificial system. Parshat Tsav mentions two types of voluntary sacrifices that one could have offered to God to express gratitude or devotion. But they differed in purpose and practice. I'm going to explain these to you. The first was called the well-being sacrifice, the shelamim. And this was a general offering of peace and gratitude, and one could bring it to the temple to celebrate blessings or fulfillment of vows. Okay, that's number one. The second was called the sacrifice of thanksgiving, zivach hatoda, and it was a specific type of the well-being offering that I just mentioned. And it was brought in response to being saved from danger or distress, like illness or captivity, or if you went on a very, very dangerous and perilous journey, you would offer this. Now, what's interesting about the Thanksgiving offering is that we're told that one was supposed to offer it alongside regular bread, but with two additional different types of unleavened bread, or matzot. So when you did this, regular bread, two types of matzah. So essentially, the Torah is providing an outline for people to offer a free will offering of matzah for those who wanted to. It's almost like our nanny who would just eat Mediterranean matzah voluntarily, okay? Now, this sacrifice might seem a little bit antiquated, especially in a day and age in which sacrifices are no longer mandatory. But there is a modern Jewish practice that is similar to this, and we actually do it during the Torah service sometimes. It's called Birchat HaGomel, or just Gomel. Sometimes you might have heard somebody mention the expression, he's going to bench Gomel. They're benching Gomel. Well, that is what it is, and typically this prayer is done after someone has just had an aliyah to the Torah. Usually this person that is benching Gomel has survived some sort of dangerous or traumatic situation, or they've recovered from a serious illness. It's actually an incredibly beautiful thing, a very intimate and powerful thing when somebody says, Rabbi, my cancer is in remission, I want to bench Gomel. It's amazing. And the text of the prayer literally says, quote, who bestows good things on the unworthy. And it recognizes that we, as human beings, are oftentimes undeserving of mercy, but God gives it to us anyway. And this, dear friends, this is the real reason that I eat matzah during Passover. Certainly it's not because I like it, but rather I eat it because I want to give back to God for all the blessings that God has bestowed on me. I think of eating matzah not so much as a commandment for Pesach, you have to do this, but rather in the vein of the Thanksgiving offering that I mentioned earlier. I want to eat it to show my appreciation for the divine, because there are so many times that Hashem has saved me from destruction. Maybe Hashem has saved you. Maybe it was from yourself. Maybe it was from other people. Maybe it was from evil forces in the universe that you or I can't completely comprehend or explain. But I think if we think about Passover in that way, it radically changes the effect that matzah can have on us. This really is a holiday that acknowledges that we should have been completely wiped out. And not just in Egypt, by the way, but many times subsequently. The Jewish people survived the Ottoman Empire. They survived Spain. They survived France. And yes, in Europe during the Holocaust. And even recently, October 7th. We should have been decimated. But the same God that promised our ancestors in the book of Shemot thousands of years ago still holds that promise true. And guess what? We're still here. Just look at us. And that, my friends, that is why we should eat matzah. Not because we have to, but because we want to. So this Pesach, as you sit around the dinner table, maybe with your family and friends in your home or at the second night here with other congregants and friends, I'll encourage you, I'll challenge myself. Eat matzah with a smile on your face, and do so with a happy heart in acknowledgement that God has blessed you with so many things. I will encourage this. I, however, will never encourage you to eat Mediterranean matzah in November. Shabbat shalom.